Dungeons and Dragons, I don't care.
Hey,
We're gonna talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Miracle cares about Dungeons and Dragons. I care about the
dragons.
Because
dragons, man, it's really great because it's so therapeutic to see monsters kill people, and you don't have to care about social media like Twitter. It's like so therapeutic because
you mean in the movies, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well,
sure. We're going. I did not place an order for a stuffed dragon.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. And when I say that I don't care about this, what I'm saying is like I cover this stuff and I enjoy covering it. But to me, this isn't something where I feel like I don't have strong opinions one way or the other because I wasn't a tabletop gamer. Right?
But do you think it's gonna be better than the movie where they had what's his name, Wayne Marlin? Or
Marlon Wayans?
Thank you.
Wayne. If I
like that better.
In fact, if I ever became an actor, my name would be Wayne Marlin.
That's better than Nick Robinson or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
Much better.
I never saw it.
Oh my god. Okay, it's so terrible because he plays like I think he plays as an elf, and like he's just the only person who speaks in modern terms.
Of course,
He's the only token black guy in that movie.
Of course.
I remember when that movie came out. I did not see it. Like 2001, 2000. Yeah.
It's just hidden in the cabinets of my grandparents' house, and I was just reading the synopsis on the back, and I'm like, this is interesting.
Like random Jamie Foxx when he was in King Arthur or whatever.
Right. Did you play Dungeons and Dragons? Is that how
I played it on Discord. So Discord has these bots where they roll the dice for you, so you don't have to roll actual dice. And like my friend, he likes to switch it up sometimes, so I don't know if they're still doing this campaign, but it's called Lancer, and instead of like being in medieval times, you're in space and you have a bunch of like Gundams around, so that's what they're doing right now.
It's a Gundam. So basically what I see from these things is like they have now they stripped your superheroes. They refuse to use lesser known characters because they have to market lesser known characters. They can't just turn they just can't make they can't race or gender swap Superman. Well, you can't gender swap Superman, then you have Superwoman, Supergirl. But you know what I'm saying, right? They're not going to risk doing lesser known characters on the big screen because then they have to actually market it. They can do those characters on TV. If you have someone like James Gunn involved, like with Peacemaker, he can do that. Same with Guardians of the Galaxy. But you can't. Then you have to be able to afford James Gunn. Mm-hmm. But what they're coming for next is your tabletop gaming. This is going to be the next hobby that's going to be strip mined and used for parts by these studios that don't have any appreciation or love for it. We've been talking about a show out right now called The Legend of Vox Machina, which is based on a YouTube and Twitch channel called Critical Role, which is a bunch of voice actors who got together in the mid 2000s and started tabletop game streaming. Now, these people have a deep, deep love for the art form in the strategy games that they of Dungeons and Dragons, right? Mm-hmm. So they just have a show come out right now. It's an animated series, and you can tell that they love these characters.
Yeah.
But they're also actors who were able to seek financing. They raised money on Kickstarter to fund the first episode, and all this money goes into it. But 10 years down the line, it's not going to be people that actually care about it making these movies. It's going to be generic studio executive number one who's like, you know what I heard was popular these days? Tabletop gaming. And they will turn these things into movies that nobody's going to care about.
Well, you don't realize how much like people are committed to these games. Like they draw their own character.
Yep.
Like they make it into a huge thing. Like especially for Critical Role, like some people will actually draw out their characters for them and go like, here you go, you can use this on your show as fan art. Rabid
fan bases every bit as mired in that love what they're talking about every bit as much as these comic book fans who've been going to the same comic book shops for 20 years. And as I talk about, I said, when you make these properties, they keep thinking that they have built-in fandoms. They do not. They have built-in critics.
Yeah.
Because the second you try to change the medium and you change anything about it, we just watched the trailer for Halo, the television show that's coming out, and 90% of the comments are about how Cortana is not blue and she looks like a soccer mom. I was like, just imagine if you just made a generic series about something similar to Halo. You could have the soccer mom character not be blue and not be hot like the video game, but you wouldn't have the people calling you out, So then you have to, it's basically a race. Do you make it well enough that the people who played these games and keep these franchises profitable to make them just happy enough to keep coming back? Or do you ruin enough of it by having to make the changes that you feel because you have no deep connection to the source material? They love to dissect it, take it apart, and put their own stamp on it because they don't want to be faithful. They want to make their own thing, but the studio won't greenlight their thing. They'll greenlight the thing that's already got a fan base.
But these vapid ciphers that actually run these studios, of course, because they're clueless at some level, they have a totally counterintuitive perception of what to do with an IP.
Yep.
I mean, because that's how like separated from the world of that fan base that they are. Like they're totally disconnected.
There was a video from Zach from Comics Matter the other day. He goes, a lot of people think that these studio executives hate you. They don't hate you. They don't give a crap. They don't know you exist.
Right.
It's worse. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And these celebrities, these studio executives, they don't care about your opinion, man. They're just going to make it because it's a business investment to them. They don't care. The Critical Role succeeds because they're passionate about it. Stargirl on DC Universe.
Yeah.
Arguably more care is put into it because the character Stargirl was created by Jeff Johns, who created the character based on a sister of his who he lost. He tragically lost a sister, so he's not going to let that character be mutilated by studio execs, right? So the more care that a person puts into it, the more faithful it will be to the adaptation. But you can't expect everyone to have that same level of care for these products, and inevitably this is what happens. We get this notice for Dungeons and Dragons TV series from Red Notice director, which Miracle hated Red Notice. I call it fast food media. It's The Rock. It was a movie on Netflix from The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was arguably the definition of something you forget 2 minutes after watching it. There's literally nothing memorable about it. The Rock
That's
plays,
why it's terrible.
The Rock plays The Rock. Ryan Reynolds plays Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot plays kind of, I guess, a little bit against character because she's kind of the bad guy in it. But so the same guy who made that is helming this project. And it says, Dungeons & Dragons TV series is in development and is getting spearheaded by Rawlinson Marshall Thurber, who recently directed the smash hit Red Notice from Netflix, starring Gal Gadot, Dwayne Johnson, and Ryan Reynolds. Details include that Thurber will oversee the Dungeons & Dragons series for Hasbro and will write and direct the pilot script as well as executive produce the hour-long project. Deadline further notes that the project has been garnering interest from multiple buyers, and since Thurber has a relationship with Netflix, it could be possible that the D&D TV series lands on the streaming service. Anywhere but Netflix, I say. Literally anywhere but Netflix. Give it to Amazon Prime. Give it to Hulu. Give it to, I don't know.
I think Prime, because then like they can have all the D&D stuff be in one place.
Yeah, kind of like Hulu is cornering the market on musical documentaries and tragedies.
Yeah.
They can be Amazon Prime can put their stamp on doing
it's the same
tabletop
thing
gaming stuff.
How I was complaining about the Godzilla TV series. Why is it on Apple Plus TV?
Well, actually, I was going to cover an article where Legendary bought back majority stake in that from the company that had bought a bunch of shares from them in like 2016. So they just regained control of it, but not in time to save it from getting sold to Apple Plus. Like, why is a Godzilla TV show being made when all of the movies are done by Legendary and produced through Warner Brothers? Why is this being made through Apple TV? That doesn't make any sense.
No, buy it back.
All of these companies should be looking to set themselves apart, not flood the market with copies of one another.
I just want them to buy it back because Godzilla deserves to be back to HBO Max because they did a phenomenal job with Godzilla vs. Kong.
I'm a bigger fan of HBO Max than any of the other streaming services right now as far as putting out new stuff and the existing IPs that they've been, not IPs, but shows that they're buying the rights to. They just put Fringe back on there. I love Fringe.
Well, HBO, but even before it was HBO Max, they actually have a history of having a unique perspective with the kind of content that they produce. Like Amazon, Netflix, Hulu's a little different. Apple TV.
Hulu's owned by Disney.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. But
Yep.
Okay, so it's like their little Miramax version
Yeah.
of what TV
TriStar
can
Picture.
be.
It's TriStar Pictures.
Okay, there you go. But even Apple TV, like I see a lot of fledgling companies that are just trying to put plastic products out there
Yep.
that don't really have. They don't have a thumbprint, you know.
Yep.
But HBO has always had a thumbprint. They even have like a freaking like filter that they use for their programs. Like
Yep.
almost all of their programs have an actual like aesthetic filter that they put in front of the camera.
I told
Yeah.
when we were watching Titans, I said, why are these shows obsessed with blue and orange these days? They love
you can see it.
blue tint on everything, and I hate that personally. There's a fantastic YouTuber called The Fourth Age who talks about, he did a whole video about how color grading has changed in comics, and then it trickles down to the rest of these mediums because women see blues better than men, and they gear things towards women. Because women see those colors better because it's evolutionary. It's evolution, basically, that a woman had to be able to see if her child had a fever.
Oh, I've heard that. Right,
Yeah,
right,
because
right.
women can see see more colors than men.
Yes. So
is HBO marketing to women? Is that
I
making?
think the
I don't know.
long-standing
Content for
logic is that women control the income in the household, so all things in general are marketed towards women.
I always thought that HBO was coming from a New York perspective. Like, I mean, they always kind of have like New York shows. Like, at least I think their most successful shows have been, you know, I mean, everything from Sex and the City to Sopranos, all the way through Girls, and I mean, you name it. I mean, like
Succession is Showtime, I think. Never mind.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is Showtime. But like, New York has that kind of aesthetic winter. Cold blue feel to it, so that's kind of why I always associated that with HBO.
They it's funny, Marvel, because when Marvel did their shows through Netflix, all of them took place in New York. I'm like, imagine if something didn't happen in New York.
Yeah, right.
Crazy, right? Like, imagine, like, who's living there with all this stuff happening? There's literally something bad happening in every borough all the time.
Yeah.
Like, who's like, you know where I'm going to move? New York City. There's at least one catastrophic event every 2 years. The financial collapse. You have to live 9 people to an apartment, even if you work at a major business. Like, who's actually choosing to live there?
Lots of people.
Well, I'm saying, but like in these worlds,
even
like, even there, they're just like
because in reality, those people exist.
Yeah.
You know, in my experience, I know that for a fact. And I know people that want to go there. I know people that don't want to leave. I know people that are never going to leave. Like,
it's part of who they are.
it's part of who they are. Exactly.
But yes, you're absolutely right. HBO, and plus HBO has kind of, they were one of that first line of, I guess, like black label, high-end entertainment that wasn't movies, right?
Totally.
So you have Game of Thrones, and even before that, you had, what was it, Oz was very good. Carnival Row, I don't remember if Carnival Row was HBO Max, or it would have been HBO Go at the time, but all those shows originated on HBO, you know, where people had to go to for really high-end entertainment. And now as that becomes the business model going forward, they have to find a way to keep people, and HBO Max was growing pretty well, and that's actually the funny thing is we're going to use that to get into the next story. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.